to order. Just say,
You can call the meeting to order.
call the meeting to order. I have no idea what I'm doing, but
All right.
yeah, all right.
We will. Yes, we will.
Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Cody.
Here.
Jody. Here. Bernie.
Yep.
Laura. Here. Pam.
Yep.
Sally.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Has anybody heard from Tom?
Nope.
Dave Ringler.
Nope, unexcused.
Public comments. Those citizens wishing to.
Can I
speak
pause
on-
just one moment?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
You want to elect a temporary chairperson?
Okay, so apparently we have to elect a temporary chairperson.
Or just appoint her and be done with it.
Yeah. Okay, then somebody.
Sounds like Mr. Byer has made a motion
Okay.
to.
I will second
temporarily-
that motion to have Ms. Ensley be the temporary chairperson.
Hey, here we go.
Oh, did he just walk in?
I was just about to say, it sounds
And
like
there
it.
he is.
You wanna vote, huh? Before you say a word, David, vote yes or no. David, say yes or no.
Where's
Yes.
Darla? I sent
Hey.
Darla a text. I was on the way from Grand Rapids. That's a more worthy excuse than getting stuck in Grand Rapids.
We're on number 3.
Yeah, so at 12:06, Mr. David Ringler, chairperson of the board, has arrived.
Does that mean we gotta cancel the?
No angel singing, I get. All right, public comment, those citizens wishing to speak on agenda and non-agenda items will be allowed a maximum of 4 minutes to address their concerns. This is the only time during the meeting. Citizens are allowed to address the DDA. Please state your name and address for the record if you'd like. Hello, friends.
Are any of you doing this?
I am here. Can you come on over to the microphone just so that we can hear you and the folks on Zoom and on the recording can hear you?
I'm Suzanne Ader. I'm coming from 37 North Main. I am here to tell you that I'm part of the Cedar Springs Bob Project Development Team. We are working to bring some communication improvements to the city. We'd like to improve communication, awareness of events and awareness of businesses and help connect the residents with more information. We are creating a website that will allow them to have free access. There will also be ways for them to have more benefits with a paid access. And businesses will get a free listing or they'll be able to do more promotion through a paid listing. We will support and promote events and boards and things on it and generally try to help things be more aware. We've talked to too many people that don't know about stuff. I also have a business on Main Street. I've been working with Perry for over 10 years. But as I've been trying to be more active in events in the last 6 months, and talking to people, people don't know stuff. We're promoting stuff, we're creating events. They don't know that it's out there. We used to have a post and that helped some, but we've got a multi-diverse culture and not everybody reads the newspaper. So we want to present a way that is multi-access for whatever level of information dissemination they seek. So that's the project. We are seeking participation from businesses, from people interested in reading it, and from people, anybody that would like to invest in it to help us grow faster. Right now, it's really bootstrap. We are trying to we have a little bit of structure up. I did not bring any paperwork for presentation to you today because we are trying to be as environmentally conscious as we can. I have an email address that has automatic that I can give to you today. It has an autoresponder on it that gives a list of information and resources for more. It is called Join CS Bob. That's for Cedar Springs Book of Businesses. Join CS Bob at gmail.com will give you an immediate autoresponder that will give more links, more information, and more details. We will continue to flush that information out and add more to it as we get more stuff up and we get more participation.
Nice to meet you. I haven't seen you guys online.
We've been doing some stuff, yes, on Facebook, just basically putting a little bit of awareness out there about events and stuff so far. But, we're collecting names, collecting information. We've been around to, events and vendor shows and craft shows and things, trying to collect up the small businesses as well as those that have retail space.
Nice.
You had a, can I ask you what you have in your hand? It said Baba.
This
is
is,
that?
this is just information that's available on that email address. This is a little hand,
Okay, okay.
just the notice thing that I've been showing around. This flyer right here is available on, through a link to that email address. You could print this off and you can stick it in your window if you wanted to.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Anyone else? Sounds good to me.
And the only other thing I got is on Tom's business where there's some of the full time.
A lot of them this week.
All right, thank you. Any conflicts of interest and ex parte communication should be aware of? Everyone's had a chance to review the agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? In favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Our agenda carries. Consent agenda, motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting, which are contained in the packet from May 15th, and to accept and file the financial reports.
Motion.
Discussion. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Unfinished business, moving on. The signs, from sign committee, special event signs, replacing the double-sided museum sign, Heart of Cedar Springs sign, the bridge, which, and the back of the existing Heart of Cedar Springs sign, also contained in the packet. Sign for Regal Park and Fifth Street. All these were part of the original plan. Do you have a budget for these?
There is a budget for signs. I don't have that number right handy. I know Miss Powell was working on addressing some of the sign needs for special community events, and then the several different ones listed here for museum and the Heart of Cedar Springs. If you want to add on anything.
No, those were on the original plan. I don't think the special event sign was. Do we have we don't have an estimate for those.
Correct, there's not an estimate at this time. If it's something the board would like to explore and purchase those signs, we can bring back estimates at the next meeting.
I would say so. It's time to get those done.
Yeah. Did the sign get placed in the heart yet?
Not that I'm aware of. So the one side is still there. But I think Miss Powell would like to add the second side of that sign, and that was what was proposed here.
One we just bought?
Just bought, well, 3-4 years old, maybe.
Oh, no. The one for special events.
Oh, no,
You
that's
know,
different.
That's separate.
Okay.
That's a separate one.
Okay.
Could I just address special
Please.
event signs? We went north the other day through Howard City and they had 131
How'd you get
closed
there?
off. I flew.
Right?
And they had a sign from Montcalm County Police Department. It was like a portable sign on wheels. I didn't get a chance to see what it said because we were going the other way too fast. So,
Let's go down.
you tell Chris. So I believe it had something to do with a special event, and I didn't know. I was gonna ask Kent County if they have something similar to like when we have Red Flannel Day, they could have a beware of or event sign. And I guess we got down to maybe even just having sandwich board signs. So people know there's gonna be more kids, there's gonna be more traffic. Be aware of that. So anyway, I want to look into, see if Kent County has some kind of a portable sign like that. That's about where I'm at with that.
So this would not, you're not talking about, this is not something we've reviewed yet. You're talking about something totally different.
Well, I'm talking about special event signs. But we don't have a cost or anything about putting up the maybe sandwich board signs or something. We just don't have a number on that, and maybe I'll have more information if Kent County has some kind of a portable sign for letting people know there's an event and the road's closed, detour for whatever they do.
That may be a model. We might want to look at something that's similar to all the rest of them we have. We've kind of been promoting consistency on these.
Sure, yeah.
But the other four, I think those are things we can, it's probably good to start getting a number on those and get those done
Sure, we can get a
on
quote
the
for
original.
the four there. Bring back the special community events at some other time.
I think if we can get those done, then we may have another sign committee and take a look at the special event ones,
Mhm.
the model of whatever Kent County.
And the Riggle Park one was double-sided too.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the signs?
I would make a comment, which I'm probably way out of line by even asking or suggesting it, but they have events on the Legion side that they can punch in every day. Could we contract with them somehow or have them do a special events for the city or buy some time from them? Does it make any sense? It wouldn't cost a lot, I wouldn't think, if they would. charge.
Legion sign doesn't work anymore. They have to have a whole new system installed.
That doesn't work anymore?
No, it's outdated and it can't be repaired, so they have to get a whole new
Then
system.
why did I bring that up?
Well, that was a
Once
war
again,
in
out of
itself.
line.
Not back.
Next.
All right. Any further discussion on the signs? Any further discussion on the signs? And we'll move on to the White Creek Flats Brownfield request.
My name is Doug Gulker with Fusion Properties. We've been around for about 2 years now, so you may have heard of us in our project. We, in July, received site plan approval. Tomorrow night, we have a public hearing on the rezoning. And we've been working with the city council on ways that we can use the brownfield tools because we have to extend water and sewer to our site. So we are extending water main down Solon Street, 2,100 lineal feet. And then continuing on past our property to make a loop to connect to water main on White Creek, which actually helps the overall system. And then we have to bring sanitary sewer from Cherry Street to our property, approximately 2,350 lineal feet. So we have a lot of offsite utility costs, and that is the purpose of the brownfield. In working with city council, we basically came up with a plan that uses brownfield TIF in addition to a payback agreement as other people connect to it. So we think we've come up with a solution that actually covers some of the added cost of our community on the upfront, but then ultimately gets us paid back for that offsite cost. So I'll let Jared go through the specifics of it. He's our attorney.
Oh, you couldn't get
He's
a
on
good,
crutches, so.
couldn't get a good attorney. Full disclosure, we've worked
We
with
can
Mr.
give
Bell.
you a handheld mic if it helps you to sit.
I'm
Sure.
Is this a hockey injury?
This was, no, this was, I'm getting old and I slipped on the stairs and it broke and it never healed.
Look at this board before you start talking about.
Well, thank you, everyone. As Doug said, we've had several work sessions. We've gone through, we've tried to come up with a creative solution to offset the infrastructure costs that have really been a burden for Doug being able to get this project off the ground. I think we're all aware of the environment we live in, where costs continue to escalate. Rents don't necessarily chase that. So we were trying to find a creative solution in finding a way to help offset that cost. So we looked to the Brownfield program through a partnership with the land bank, where they come in and it essentially allows a tool for the project to be eligible for infrastructure improvements through the Brownfield Act. I'll touch on something that was recently signed by the governor, but it's not yet being implemented. But can be another tool in the future that the city can use. It's operating the same way, but without the partnership with the land bank. Given all the work that everybody's put into it at this point, and given the fact that Mishta has not fully implemented this new program, we're looking to stay the course with what we've mapped out. So the total cost project's probably about a $30 million project. It will be built out kind of in phases. The infrastructure costs that we're asking for assistance through the brownfield is about $1,090,000 with 4% interest, which is well below market at this point. As Doug said, it's to bring the water and sewer lines. It will loop the system, which is actually a really good improvement for the city. And we are also proposing an 80-20% pass through. So we're not capturing 100% of the increment generated from this. 20% of that is passing through. So all the taxing jurisdictions, including the city operating millage, will see a 20% bump from this project. While the brownfield captures the remaining 80. Right now, completion estimated about 2026, 13-year reimbursement projection currently, as Doug said, trying to, again, coming up with a creative solution here. We tried to come up with a way to keep that projected reimbursement period of 13 years down to as little as possible. So what we did was we're proposing to couple this with a payback agreement, essentially a tap fee agreement for others. It's anticipated, given this development, it will attract further development. Could very well be Doug, and he's full supportive of this, that because they're putting the infrastructure in, those who are benefiting from it, now providing access to the other adjoining properties, they would pay a tap fee to the city, which would then help be used to reimburse the developer on this cost. It would not provide any additional benefit. It's just shortening the reimbursement period from the currently projected 13 years. That 13 years assumes no tap fee repayment. So again, and I should also add, because this was a big one, within the reimbursement agreement formula, it accounts for the Solon Township fee. I understand through the 425 agreement, there is a fee. So it does account for payment of that. It's not the way we've structured it. It's not coming out of the city's pockets. It's being offset by this project first before reimbursement will go to the developer. So I know that's a lot.
You spent a lot of time with us at the city.
We did have a work session at the fire station. We went through all the numbers with council members and answered all the questions. Again, trying to be thoughtful and respectful to all parties here and make it a good deal for everybody, right? The developer has found a way to offset the costs. But in addition to that, the city will benefit not having to wait 13 years to get some initial benefit from this project.
How many units is it gonna be?
168.
168. Okay. What's gonna be the average price point?
So when we looked at the rents, they were within, I think, the 70 to 100% AMI. I'll let Doug speak to that, but they are actually below the 120, which is considered the attainable.
We actually have 168 units, 25% are 1 bedroom, 50% are 2 bedroom, and 25% are 3 bedroom. So we have a mix. All first floor units are accessible. So on grade, it's a 3-story building, and rents will range from approximately $1,000 to $2,000 a month, depending on which unit, which size, that type of thing. So
Are they gonna be low income housing?
it's market rate apartments. So yes, we have standalone garages, but we have, I think a garage for every unit as well.
So every unit will have a standalone garage?
They're banked together, but I mean,
Okay.
it's not connected to their unit. is my
Yeah.
point.
And they'll have an actual
Like
door, or
townhomes.
it's just gonna be,
We have common entries for the apartment units, and then every garage will have their own combo access. So
How big is that garage? Is it, I mean, obviously.
it's
one-
approximately 12 by 22. So
humongous need for this in this town.
And the entire first floor is all completely accessible.
Yeah, I,
Which they didn't have to do.
just very,
Yeah, I mean, and part of the reason you ask about rents is, we did the apartment project, 168 units behind the Meyer and Rockford. That you can see from the expressway. And our feeling, the market here can't accept or can't handle the rates that Rockford can. So that's why we're kind of trying to offset some of these utility costs to keep our rates lower than the Rockford project. So.
And this is all 425, so it's bringing new property into the city.
As the primary focus of this board is obviously downtown, is there, and maybe this is more for Dwayne, is there eventually a pass-through coming up Cherry or anything to bring residents into downtown? Well, I know it has been for a long time, but is this something that's finally gonna kick that in the pants? And
First phase was 600, about 600-foot road.
It-
Off from White Creek and towards Cedar.
It also closes a water loop.
But it does line up with Cherry. We-
Okay.
we do some land switching around, trying to make sure that happens. And, because our last, person started the city here, it lined up with wherever hooked up to Cherry, and I said, that's not what that line at all.
That was the thing.
So we did some things to get them lined up, so it's gonna be something.
yeah, that needs to happen,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
The biggest struggle with that is the road over the creek. Bridge.
Right at CS Tool.
Right.
One lane and that.
And it's not, it,
Well, like 5 years ago, 7 years ago.
but that's a major money project to that bridge, to make it so that it can handle real traffic.
Well, this would be the first substantial residential out on White Creek, correct? That may make that need a little more pressing.
I mean, are you heading this up? Are you just helping? Got it.
Closing that water
right.
loop was a critical piece of it also. That, like, we can't move on with other structures of this if we don't have that.
People who live out there need to be able to get tea.
Eagle has been watching this, they're giving the city a hard time for quite a few years. I
Yeah.
believe, on this group. And, it's been 25 years since it was stubbed out there. And never been moved. Eagle is really puts tea on the city to get that done.
Well, this will help our infrastructure, which I know is very, fabulous.
So now.
Perfect.
That loop.
Yeah, plus it opens up a lot more of that.
Mayor Emeritus was very clear on me that this needed to happen.
Awesome.
So, I assume we're looking for a motion to, approve this request.
Mr. Ringler, I do believe you would need to make a motion to recommend to the city council to approve of the Brownfield project. There's a proposed motion there in your agenda packet if you guys would wish.
Is there a downside? What's the downside? Is there one? Wayne? Anybody?
For us,
Yeah.
at the city,
For us.
our biggest struggle, and they've worked really hard to make this happen, was the need to pass through initially all of the taxes. And we're gonna have 168 units of people that are gonna need fire service, are gonna need, and we were like, okay, we still gotta pay our fire department. We still gotta pay.
Right.
And that's where they came up with this 80-20 plan, and Solon wasn't willing to take any kind of a haircut on this,
Understood.
big surprise. And
I
so,
remember the racetrack, but go ahead.
yeah. So this is where they got the 80-20 and then the tap fee piece to make that happen. And we, but Mayor Pro Tem Nixon was literally doing math at this meeting on like, how much does it cost to have a fire person to come for this many people? And what are the likelihood of this many calls? And so we can make sure that we can pay fire and policing, because we're assuming there will be an increased cost in that we would normally pay with taxes if the taxes are going to the brownfield. So that's why we're capturing a piece of it back. Is that,
I don't see where there's, no, to answer the question, I don't see where there's really any downside, because we're growing, that's what we gotta do.
Lots of
we,
temp-
we just put
temporary
in a
loss of revenue.
full-time fire chief,
I understand that,
so not chief,
I
but
don't know.
as
Okay.
part of the growth.
This resolution is located on page 25 of your packets. So I would entertain a motion to recommend, make a recommendation to city council.
I have the motion in front of me, but I should not be the person to make the motion.
You're a board member, you may.
I am, but I'm going to be voting on this.
You're a board member of this body as well. You may make a-
If you
may
would
make a
like the motion, I will make a motion of the BRA board to support, let's see, a resolution to approve of the Cedar Springs Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Brownfield Plan and Development and Reimbursement Agreement for the White Creek Flats redevelopment project.
Second.
Is there any further discussion?
I will just add one little piece on the brownfield part. This originally was going to be a 2-story and was going to take up a larger footprint, but Eagle, it said maybe not, that there's a wetland there. And so they have went back to the drawing board and completely reconfigured to meet those requirements to protect the wetland there. So that's also a piece of that. Like, they've really done their due diligence in this.
Is there any thought of like adding more, right? Is there more land there that you have that you're gonna add on to, I'm assuming?
We have ability to.
And that's the part where the,
Maybe like standalone condos or something like that?
and that's also part of the tap fees that we're hoping will be.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign.
Mr. Ringler? You guys just approved of the resolution to, recommend approval. We would first need a motion to recommend that approval to the city council. So, a motion would be in order, motion to recommend to the city council the approval of the amendment to the Cedar Springs Brownfield Plan for the White Creek Flats project. And Mr. Belka may be able to speak to that, but we have to amend the plan first, and then you're recommending the plan, as well.
Okay,
You guys can hear me okay?
yeah,
I'm gonna stick my head here in the screen, but, so when the city originally adopted its plan, they designated the city boundaries as the original plan. Since this is the 425 property, you need to amend your plan to include the 425 property, and then make that resolution to make recommend for approval. So it's, I'll call it an administrative cleanup item because that property originally township property, but subject to now becomes just the way the original plan described city boundaries. It just needs to be.
so how should we amend the motion, since I made the motion?
Nope, that's all right. You can keep the motion as presented. You are making that recommendation to city council to approve of the specific plan for the White Creek Flats. We just need to make a, motion to recommend the amendment to the plan to include this property. So,
So you need another motion?
on item 8A, number 2, motion to recommend to the city council the approval of the amendment to the Cedar Springs Brownfield Plan.
I'll make that motion.
As written.
As written.
It's right there.
Thank you, Mr. Byer.
What it says.
Now in line.
I think
Yeah.
Have a second.
second.
You? If there's no further discussion, then I would ask for all those in favor of the motion as written, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. 8A2 carries, and then I can also say 8A3 carries. Perfect. Alrighty, let's move on to B.
Outta
Thank
here.
you, gentlemen.
May the force be with you.
Falca's out of here at slower pace than the rest. Put him on skates.
You should
They've-
bill
they've-
him, hey?
They've spent a lot of time making this.
Don't let the lawyers fool you about the time.
Yeah, yeah. Only here 5 minutes. We're docking about.
Billable hours doesn't mean actual
No.
documented time.
Well,
You love it here.
At least we didn't have any Nazis this time.
It's a win-win. Just
That was
think
a fun
about it.
meeting.
Wayne wins, he builds houses. They win,
Good luck, guys.
Laura wins, she sells.
Yeah.
houses.
I know that I had to have my client pick me up. So he's driving this. Thanks, everyone.
He wins, they
Hi, Jane.
drink beer.
Alrighty, we're moving on to our message board that we had looked at previous meeting. Thank you, Ms. Ensley, and I think the map is on page 35. So I'm willing to see where exactly it's indicated.
Wherever they choose.
35.
Somewhere on page 35. You know exactly where that's supposed to be, Rebecca?
I normally have the computer in front of me, sorry.
Okay.
I see a red mark there, but I just wasn't clear to me what was what.
Right here?
I believe the red square identified on the map there is
Okay.
the proposed location.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
It's just very little.
Yeah.
36 pages.
Right here.
Oh, I got where's this at?
It's a two-sided sign, yes.
All right.
This is, at the heart.
Okay. Gotcha.
I know we had also asked about getting Regis maps printed that we can put in there because we can indicate. I think we get one of those free every year as part of our membership.
You're just looking for a city map for that?
Well, yeah, city maps that we can put businesses and places of interest on, so people can find Redbird when they need it and.
It's my understanding that sign is already purchased and is in the garage. So if you guys want to take a look at it on your way out, you're more than welcome to do that.
This is just the location.
This is just recommending to the city council the location of that sign, since it is on city property.
I recommend
So
that.
this is then perpendicular to the road, so you can see it. You'll see it visibly as you drive by or walk by the road. And you actually have a panel facing the little path there too, so that'll be easy to read. I would entertain a motion to approve a recommendation to the city council for installing this message board in the heart of Cedar Springs at the site identified on the map.
So moved.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate
I
by.
have a question. Discussion. I think it's a great idea, but we always have this thing where, oh, we're gonna put up a sign. Who is gonna be responsible to make sure that things are updated and correct? The actual person or identified person who is gonna take care of this, because it's just like planting a garden. Everybody wants to plant a garden, but nobody wants to take care of it. So, that's my only issue is somebody has to be designated to keep this board in shape.
Sounds like you volunteered.
I'm doing the garden.
I think as the DDA has purchased this, it's gonna fall on us and hopefully at some point there's an assistant city manager that is a little more dedicated to the DDA, but
So until that happens,
then you said you just volunteered.
no, I'm doing the garden. I told them.
We went out and
Rose,
decorated.
no one cares more about the signs than you.
Well, I know we've got signs up there that's like 4 years out of date, so What good is that?
As this body is meeting regularly, I think it's something that we can probably handle,
I
in my
hope
opinion.
so. That, it's just pitiful to have something that's outdated by years and businesses are gone and new businesses are coming in and it's,
Well, that's the nice thing with the Regis, that we can have that reprinted every single year.
yeah, that would be. Somebody's gotta put it in the dark.
At least, I mean, that was my understanding from our previous discussions on this, that they will print a sign for us, or they will print a map for us every single year, in addition to any other information that we want to put in.
Regis is phenomenal. They can do a lot of different things with maps, so if we can get it on their radar, it's just gonna take a staff person to let them know what changes are needed each year.
And somebody did put it in.
Well, all this motion is for is the placement of the sign. That's it. That's a recommendation of the city council. So we have a motion on the floor with a second. All those in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Motion carries. And we move on to a Halloween event. October 31st, Mr. Hopkins.
Oh, as I kind of brought these event ideas to both the chamber board and the DDA board back this spring. This is gonna be the downtown's 4th year of business interruption. And some of the businesses really need some morale boosting. And so does our community. And so we have a couple event options that we can do to help bring our community together by making it a group co-host between the chamber, the DDA, Red Flannel, anybody else that wants to take part of it and say, yes, I want to be with this event. The Halloween one is a fairly easy one to make happen. And I was actually kind of surprised that Mike actually suggested the idea that got me thinking on this, because he asked me what my opinion was of closing off Main Street for Halloween trick or treating. I'm like, I think it's a great idea. I
It's
just
my
thought,
idea.
was it your idea? But,
Yeah,
well,
I'm a big Halloween person.
I was dropping off my annual permits for my sidewalk permit for the seating and all of that. And then that's when he says, while you're here, what's your opinion? I'm like, because normally he's against closing off Main Street, which I am too, because closing off Main Street is a business killer. But as long as you make it so that it'll bring them back later.
Yeah,
It's,
a lot of kids get hit by cars on Halloween. Like I mean, if you look at the data, it's actually pretty high.
well, and it's,
And the spooktacular that we have going on is a huge draw.
and well,
And if we closed off Main Street for a few hours, like they're not gonna get hit by a car.
why, and it's costing $400 a year for policing to cover the cross guards, which could be easily used somewhere else if you get volunteers to put out all the roadblock stuff. But right now we have trick or treating on Main Street. We have trunk or treating off on First Street. We have trunk or treating on Second Street. Why not just bring it all on the Main Street? Before, at the end of when the chamber was doing the Halloween Spooktacular, we'd give out over 1,000 pieces of candy and be out, and there's still people. Ensley's used, before they had their building, they used to set up in front of my tea shop and we'd have the Pat and Perry show, which was quite the attraction for kids, getting free hot chocolate candy and brains, as we called it, the cream of marshmallows and marshmallow stuff. And so by creating the opportunity for as many boards and churches and businesses to get involved with the Halloween thing, if Halloween is their thing. I know some places Halloween, they just don't believe in it, but that's okay. There's plenty of us that do. The same way there's plenty of us that believe in Christmas and make Christmas a big thing. And as like I said, when you have over 1,000 people come to your door, get a piece of candy, that tells you Halloween is something that's big in your community. And so instead of having people to go to other towns to have a big Halloween thing, why not make it here? And it won't take much as a board, as far as money wise, to make that happen. It's the matter of just inviting other entities to take part with us.
One of the things I had suggested to Michael when we were talking about it is using the parking lot over by the Heart and the staging area for people to have assigned spaces for trunk or treat. And we could actually create like a path that goes around the corner there by like the brewery.
Why don't we just put it all down Main Street?
Just if there isn't enough room. If for people who like wanna, so I love doing the whole Halloween thing and I come do it at City Hall, but like people have quit coming to my house. And if people on my street wanted to go get a space, and decorate it all so they could do a trunk or treat. If it all fits on Main Street, I think that's great.
Speaking
was the-
personally and as a,
It doesn't
as a
fit.
business on that section, it's way better to spread it out up and down the street than having it right there. Our parking is absolutely gonna be abused and we're overrun and actual customers that are trying to get there cannot. It's much better if we're closing, having people, encouraging them to go up and down the street to the
Sure.
businesses on the street than congregating in the heart.
Right now, you're already gonna have people for 6 or 7 weeks used to, you can't get down Main Street. You have to take the
Yeah,
other
I don't
routes.
disagree, and I'm not saying we shouldn't close off Main Street. It was like, if there isn't enough room as a way to extend it, because one of Michael's arguments was that there wouldn't be enough room even if we closed it off. That was what he told me.
We just extend it further south.
I'm fine with that. I don't have a position.
Ideally, you would start with going from like Cherry or Ash Street and go north if you need.
But my position was that we allow people who are even just residents or whatever to come and have a space where they could do a trunk or treat.
Maybe we have a sign up and see how many people that we get that actually want to do a trunk or treat to see how much space we're actually going to.
Well, if we have them line up kind of like what Red Flannel did with the car show.
I was just about to
and
say,
just
Red-
pop the trunks open.
yeah.
You can have it on both sides and the center
And
can
I-
still be open for all.
I said, like, I thought it would be fun if we had a theme. And then
Halloween.
people could decorate accordingly.
There's a lady, who's she with, that came to the chamber that said she has like a whole blow up town.
Right.
Was it Cindy?
Yes.
Well, yeah, having it themed each year makes it good if you have Halloween, costume contest.
Right. And there's like the person with the pumpkins, and I mean, I think it just,
It's kind of like Renaissance. Renaissance is a theme of its own, but it makes it a little bit more special each year if it has a different twist.
and again, I'm not committed. I just,
This board isn't really doing anything. We're hearing information.
Well, this board would be a co-host. The idea is to see how many boards that we could have involved with it. Being that it pertains to.
Closing Main Street would be a city council.
Correct.
The DDA could throw in some money for candy or prizes or something.
Prizes for the contest or whatever, and
those decorating the boxes contest, I thought was really cool. We did, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And again, if we have an overarching theme of like, I don't know, Monster Mash or, you know, historical spooky town or I'm not.
so what I would like is to ask the DDA. I know a lot of times you like to see it twice before they make a decision. But what I'd like to hear is like DDA say, yes, I would like to be a co-host for this, and then we can run this through as a DDA, as a chamber event, as whatever. And 1 or 2 of you join to help to be on a committee to make it happen.
Somebody that isn't already on the committee.
Right.
Do you have any other commitments from the chamber?
The chamber, they like the idea. They like the idea of both of them and they're willing to help. Being that the chamber is a 501c6, the chamber's events should pertain to mostly its members. And that's one of the reasons why going through the DDA, it being in the downtown, ideally it'd be a DDA event. But I'm trying to create events that brings all the boards and committees in the community, or as many of them as willing to participate. Because we've had several years of the community being, you do your thing.
I guess, would we want to commit and be the only ones? No, I don't, if it's gonna be community.
Well, so far, because I didn't want to go out and say to all these other entities, well, the chamber and the DDA is doing this, and then find out, well, the DDA doesn't want to do it.
Exactly.
I
So,
mean, the
that's-
city pays for the crossing, I mean, and we continue to do that. I mean, we are definitely, the city is definitely in.
I'm already on.
You're just looking for a commitment
yeah,
about to say what's asked.
Or a dollar amount.
I'm not asking for a dollar amount at this point. What I'm asking for is the DDA say, yes, we want to co-host, and 1 or 2 of our board members are willing to help out. Laura's kind of already on
I'm
board.
already on it, so I.
She
can't
could
go.
be, or,
Sweet, that's one.
No, I can't be on 2. You need 2 people from here.
well, technically, we already had 2, we have 3 from the chamber, so if
you want to be a representative for DDA, you could.
We got one.
There you go.
One more.
Go ahead.
One more.
Sally, you know you wanna
I'll
do
throw
it.
That
It's
was
my
the end.
anniversary. I usually don't plan anything. for
Wow,
that
we-
date, but I will.
We've got you a big anniversary party like no one else has ever thrown you.
That's spooky. I
So wonderful.
Make a motion for that?
don't think there's any motion required.
You could renew your vows and I could like, you could dress up in costume. and-
That would be
do it
cool.
for ya.
You don't know how we got married, do you?
We could have the scariest theme ever for Halloween, marriage.
Saying boo.
You heard that.
All right, New Year's event?
Hey, New Year's event, the same concept, except for it's dropping ball on Main Street. My idea was to have it drop the corner of Elm Street and we could close from Cherry Street to Maple. If we have the opportunity to have a band set on each end, it'd be great to have a band play for an hour, starting at 9 o'clock on either the corner by Maple Street in Maine, and then another one down an hour later at the corner of Cherry Street and Main Street. And my thinking is, instead of having beer tents from somewhere else and food trucks from somewhere else, if we can talk to our local businesses about being open from that time frame, and being it's a Sunday our first year, it may be easier versus being open all day and then still being open until midnight. I've already got somebody that's willing to donate the use of the crane, and I have somebody else that's working on making the ball. Or at least they're making the design to see whether it's something they can do, and if not, Laura has the contact for the ones that made the ball for Howard City when they did it.
I'll also just give our anecdotal experience on New Year's. I personally would be very, very skeptical that that's going to be well attended or turned out. We tried multiple times to stay open late and everybody leaves by 9 o'clock. They just go home. We're a bedroom community. And we've resolved to do a 6 PM, which is midnight in Germany. People come in for dinner, they celebrate with their kids, especially those that have littles. And go. It would be really difficult for us to even extend our team that late. I don't know, I can't speak for the other restaurants in town.
Yeah, ours as well, like we're by 8 o'clock, are clearing out and people will come
And we've tried.
down for dinner
Yeah.
and then they go to either home or somebody else's party.
Young people go to Grand Rapids or a party.
Well, and that's the thing, instead of getting them to go to Grand Rapids, maybe have them stay here.
So,
Yeah.
I understand the motivation, believe me, and if we could have a huge party out there that we can participate in, I'm all for it. I'm just saying we've tried.
so I say we do a
Mhm.
beer tent.
What was that?
It won't work either, will it?
Well, we can, if, as a social district, we can,
Right.
you know, both sides could have their taps open and still do it. I just remain skeptical. I'm telling you
Yeah.
my personal experience. I'm not saying don't do
Yeah.
this. I'm telling you in my personal experience, it's done at 9 o'clock. People are
If you-
not out.
If you had a heated tent, could you do a quote unquote beer
We had a
tent?
heated beer hall. We could.
Okay, that I mean, that the two of you, that without bringing in an outside beer tent.
Well, we already
Is that
have
right?
one in our, with the beer garden that's there and existing. You don't get into licensing with alcohol if you go off premise. That opens a whole nother can of worms
Yeah.
that honestly you all want no part of, and it would be the same in her case.
Yeah.
But the easiest way would be do the social district, which we already have in
Yes.
place, and we can certainly use the tent. I'm just telling you from doing this now for
Sure.
8 years, it's done at 9 o'clock.
But you never had a ball drop. That's what's
We've done
good.
all kinds of different things on New Year's. I'm just telling you my personal experience. If we're gonna dedicate money to this, I'm telling, my experience anecdotally is that it's probably gonna be a discipline.
So I attended the one in Howard City the year they did it, and
Uh-huh.
it was amazing.
Well, and I'm just telling you my experience.
Or did it take a couple years to catch up?
It was the
Something
first
that-
year they did it.
Okay, was that last year or is this something?
No, it was it Perry?
I think he told me it's 2020 or somewhere around in there.
Yeah, and it was,
They continue to do it.
he went out of business. The guy that did it.
I
So,
mean, it's worth trying,
Yeah.
but
or not
Well-
out of business, he just no longer is, it's done at the bowling alley. did it, and it was, I mean, it was awesome. It was packed. It was fun.
Yeah, it's another one of them things. This way, the reason why I originally wanted to start a Renaissance Fair here is because I have a lot of friends. It's like, well, we go to this town and we go to that town for it. I'm like, well, why not get you to stay here?
Would you put the ball at the Heart or someplace else? You're.
Corner of Elm and Main Street. So it's right in the center between Redbird and the brewery. So that people was, if he was utilizing the social district and utilizing our local restaurants versus food trucks and outside beer tents, that would be the ideal thing. And then have that in the middle so the ball drops. The crane is a 50-foot crane and we really don't have any buildings over 30 foot in the downtown. So I think that should be plenty tall enough. What? I believe Redbird, you sell tickets to your New Year's dinner, right? Or at least you used to.
We,
Or not tickets, but pre-reservations.
yeah, we just take like the credit card information to reserve your space.
You could do like a Eventbrite setup and then just kind of send that out and say, hey, and just do like kind of like a survey. Would you guys be interested? Hey, put $10 down. Doesn't cost anything to set up an Eventbrite, but at least you could make the event, see if there's some feedback on, you know, if this is something that people would want to do.
Is the Howard
Just
City
an idea.
Is that a single business that was doing it?
Yeah, Don Veltman did it. Well, in a bunch of businesses kind of pulled together and did it. It was, they had fire pits downtown.
Well, that's what
Well, I
Scott
mean,
and I were talking that out in front of our place because we're doing some new seating. I've got one of those stainless steel drums ones and a couple other people. And I said, you know, you said 3 or 4 of those out on Main Street. People will gather.
What if you do like a cornhole event on that
Kinda-
same thing and just to draw those people out because cornhole right now is just massive. And just kind of do like these different activities.
New Year's Eve, if you pulled out.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have to have a tent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I know Darla was saying that Rotary has a tent, a big tent. She didn't say that they would use it, but she said that they have one. So there may be that option. And I know Cordell Green has a big tent. So there's some that are available. We probably just have to ask. And I don't know who owns the
We're
tent.
talking about shutting down Main Street, right?
Correct.
And if you're setting up a tent, that's a process. I mean, it's gonna be it'll be an all day, right? It's gonna be an all day thing if we do it.
It would, yeah, it'd be,
If you're setting out fire.
if
pits
the
and
event's
setting
for 3
up
hours, it's
there
probably
out.
gonna take you at least more than that to.
Right. We do the 40 by 80 tent for ours and those are, and the tent itself is about $1,000. By the time you add any fencing or tables, you're at 2,000. Just for budgetary purposes.
Would this be a beer tent where like you have to be 18 or 21 to get in it? Or would it be a place where you
I
can like?
think you gotta keep it to that social.
Yeah.
When you
I was gonna
use,
say, but if it's in the social
district,
district, could it be the kind of thing? Like, as the mom of a 16-year-old, I would totally like go get a takeout meal and go sit and like do this with the fire.
I think outside of the tent could be.
well, if we do the
That's
social
cool.
district, do we have to have a beer tent? Or can you just,
I think the beer tent's gonna draw people
I
in.
think the beer tent is what's gonna
Yeah.
draw
Yeah,
people.
that's the main
Have
component to
a
it.
Band that draws people, you know? I know there's a local band that draws a heck of a lot of people around here.
Kind of set it up as Red Flannel have a couple different sections.
So
Like
it
the
is-
idea, it's just really hard to compete against Grand Rapids when there's just so much more activities
Yeah.
down in Grand Rapids, and that's where everyone for the last, 30 years goes to, it's what they know.
so as a growing community, we can change that.
Right.
And it's,
I think we just gotta
Just
have
take
something. that
steps to start.
stops, you know, like what's, I think we talked about this at the, what do you call that? But like a drone show, something that people haven't seen before, something that is so spontaneous that it stops them from doing their normal and transitions to doing something like that.
Those
Drone shows are
laser-
huge.
I was gonna say those laser light that are like fireworks, but
Yeah.
done with
drones.
Yeah.
And do something different. I mean, if we really want to make something of this, is you gotta do something that nobody's done before, or at least nobody in Michigan has. And drone shows, they hit with the people that are completely for like non-fireworks, because fireworks are gonna go against, no offense, but the older people with dogs.
I love it.
It's-
He looks at me and goes,
People with
no
horses.
offense.
No, I just looked. But it's environmentally friendly because we're not
Mhm.
polluting the
Right.
the area around, and it's something that's different than Grand Rapids. And a lot of people have seen fireworks; they know what fireworks are. And if we're doing something that's going to be different, you're going to bring in that different crowd. It might be something that just makes us stick out
I
just
think,
enough.
I
to
think
get
you're not
people.
wrong.
And one of the other different things from most New Year's places, I was talking with O'Flynn's about having a dry bar set up with, see if we can get City Impact to come up and bring their coffee shop thing there and maybe talk with St. Julian's and see if they're willing to donate or give a reduced price for their sparkling stuff so that some of the younger age ones or ones that don't want to drink, even though they're of age, they have the opportunity of doing something versus feeling, oh, it's just a bunch of drunks again.
Do something that's different. I think it would pull enough people away. It's just got to be
Do you know-
how do we get how do we get that information out so everybody knows, and B, what's it gonna
Do
be?
you have a
The other-
drone show connection?
I don't. It's something that you and me have talked about
Yep.
before. I can definitely get it inquired and.
I think if we can't get it kicked off in town, we should talk to Wine Barn.
Who?
Wine barn.
We can't get it kicked, I mean, obviously, my first choice would be to have it in town, because that would be amazing, right?
Yep.
But,
I mean, how cool would it be to see like 150 drones just fly off here, and then right in the city, right in the heart of the city, you just have this massive light show. I think it would definitely put us on the map.
How
Like
expensive
show
is that?
ideas. too,
Huh?
but
I don't know,
That's gotta be a budget.
but I mean,
we gotta be, I was just gonna say, I'm starting to think of bands, tents, light shows.
I mean,
Lots of money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, if we can make it like an event that's, pulls people together.
I also think if we can get 5 entities to go in on it together, and it costs each
4 or 5.
entity, yeah.
Yeah.
$500, I mean. Rome wasn't built in a day, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure if
A drone show can cost anywhere between $500 up to 30,000. So, I mean,
We need the budgetary drone show.
If I can say one thing, and it's a fine idea, but so many times, my experience, you make a plan, stuff happens. You got weather. Weather kills things, kills plans. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, you're flipping a coin. New Year's Eve, if Michigan State or Michigan's playing on national television, that kills. There's 1,000 things that will slow this thing down, so I would not be in favor of spending lots and lots of money on something that's, I think, I don't know, what are the odds? I don't know the odds. But there are odds against it.
well, there's odds every day of getting out of bed.
I
and
know that.
Not making it to the door without busting your neck.
I know. If you don't try, you're not gonna, you don't know, so I'm willing to try, I'm just not wouldn't spend a lot of money.
so like right now, I'm just on Hire UAV Pro, which is a Detroit-based one right now, and drone shows for about 3 hours is about 10 grand starting. So you get 4 or 5.
3-hour drone show.
Huh?
Yeah, really, that's long.
Jesus, shoot
Uh,
the board.
Yeah,
Well, it's not to mention that.
you could literally promote your business using them as well. So
That's,
I mean, that's just literally
Mhm.
what I could 2 minutes of searching on Google.
Mhm.
So. I mean, we're talking 5 businesses, 2,500 right there. You got your drone show paid off.
Yeah, and I don't think it would be as hard to come up with the revenue as long as we get the stuff out there. We don't wait until the end of October to say, hey, we're gonna do an event in a month and a half. Who wants to participate?
Mhm.
thank you for bringing it to us, Barry, I think.
I do too.
Was it something this board would like to co-host or?
Will the
Are
board?
we looking for a second or?
Are you looking for a motion?
Yeah,
I'm already on the board, so I can't.
Are you,
Doesn't it-
are you the motion?
I think that.
I don't, this is, we're not taking any action here. I think he's just asking if the board is,
You looking for a
you're
straw
asking
poll?
us for us to be a co-host, right?
Yes, I'm asking you to be a co-host.
all right, fair enough. That would be,
So we do need to vote on it if we want to be a part.
Yes.
So who wants to?
What, Rebecca?
I think some of the, part of the disconnect here is the cost associated with it. Is there any problem with bringing it back next month, Perry? For an
No, there's no
official
problem. That's-
adoption of sponsoring the event, getting some costs nailed down? It seems like some are interested, some are a little unsure, so maybe some additional detail might be.
Yeah,
uh,
just
in
enough so
order.
that when I go start talking to other entities and stuff, that if I say, well, I'm talking to DDA on it, that they're like, and they go back, so it's like, no, we ain't giving me no part of that. You know,
Right.
Is there general consensus from the board that they would
right.
support
I
the
think it's a
event?
great idea. Like I said, I was only expressing skepticism based on our experience.
Mhm. Mhm.
but I know that was one of the things with, when I was talking about, saying, well, the main problem is everything's shut down in Cedar after 9 o'clock. I'm like, well, hopefully we can change that for that one day and we'll see how things would work.
It hasn't always been.
Let me ask, Rose, what do you do on New Year's Eve?
Usually sleep.
How many people go downtown Grand Rapids in this room? How many people stay home because they don't want to go downtown Grand Rapids?
I don't wanna get caught drinking, that's what.
Exactly.
That's the truth.
It's the truth, right?
I-
So how many people would actually do something if it was close to home where there was Ubers available
Yep.
Or could walk,
Exactly.
or could walk?
and could
Exactly.
take my underage kid.
I don't know about.
Well, if you're having a drone show
Mhm.
and we could get food and then go watch it out on Main Street and then go home.
Would we have to limit it just to the businesses around us though? Cause I mean.
No.
The kicker with the food trucks is like, that's what pulls a lot of people, like Riverside does that. Vendor day or the food.
If you're gonna
truck.
do food trucks, just have it be something that our local restaurants don't sell.
Most definitely.
Like none of them sell elephant ears.
We can expand it. I think that'd be a hit though.
Main thing is to see how many of the local restaurants would be open,
Right.
available.
The fact is, New Year's Eve, wouldn't that limit, I mean, people are already committed. You're not gonna get a lot of bands, so I mean, they're already committed to New Year's Eve.
Well, why do we need more?
I'm not saying we do, I'm just saying if anything. New Year's Eve is gonna be a drone show, guy's not gonna come from Detroit unless you're paying a lot of money on a New Year's Eve, I wouldn't think.
Well, we do have some people locally that we can talk to that
I was
you.
gonna say, how many pot stores do we have here in Cedar that would probably want the extra business?
I was just thinking like, this is something that they could help.
Well, that's what I'm
with.
saying. Like,
Mm.
there's
You know?
a massive opportunity here. It just
I
needs.
mean, we could do a fest. I don't know. I mean,
I would.
I say
love
bring
to
it
see-
back next month.
Yeah.
I say bring it, come up with some money, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
vote for someone without that, if I don't know what it costs.
What if we propose?
Get a
like,
budget.
Get a little bit more on paper of like what we would like to have it done and then reconvene next month and kind of set that down.
Anybody on this board besides Laura willing to be on the committee? All right,
I would ask for a budget before I could support it.
well, I kinda gotta have support before I can go find a budget, cause I don't wanna use people's names if they're not onto it. But
I
yes.
think that's backwards. I think you have to come to people with a budget and say, this is what we'd like to do and this is.
Yeah.
I think you can fairly say that there's interest here and,
Yes.
I mean, I think all of us would love to see activity downtown. There's
Yeah.
no question about that. I don't think you're gonna be speaking out of line by saying that. In terms of the board committing and putting money into it, yes, we'd have to have more information, a budget to. Whether it's this year or even next year. I mean, this is this even now is pretty short notice if you're talking about a major event.
Mm-hmm.
thank you, Perry.
Thank you. Great ideas. Okay, correspondence. We have the calendar. Which I think is in our packet, the very final page, 36. Any other correspondence?
No other correspondence.
Then we have the city manager DDA director's report.
Ms. Falcon is not able to be with us. She had a death in the family. But she should be back next month. So any other questions, feel free to give City Hall a call. We'll be able to help you as best we can.
And if you want to, Rebecca is taking money for flowers, so.
You, trustee comments? Rose, we start with you.
Yeah, I was gonna give an update on the pennants that we sold. For some reason, I don't know, Sally was very fortunate to have somebody come and give her 2 pennants, although you'd ordered 1. So, you know, so I don't have to get you one out of our stock because I'm down to 1, and Sonia asked for that. So the only person who still has some pennants reserved would be Sonia. So, I didn't know if, you know, since you don't have to buy one directly from DDA, if you would prefer to maybe donate the money to the DDA for the ones that were given to you. And we have no idea who gave those to you. It's just a mystery. I know.
Girl said, somebody dropped these off.
Yeah, and you,
I assumed it was you.
yeah, well, you had only ordered 1, so I kept trying to get in touch with you to get it to you, and you already had 2. So I guess, and then Sonia gets 1, so we're all set on that particular style, the Keystone style. And she had ordered some others. I got to get with her too. She's been busy. And the other ones, we have the older ones, they're pretty beat up. I don't think they're worth $50, but I'm gonna let you guys decide. I'll bring them in next month and we can look them over, and we will see about the Red Flannel office is going to be opening shortly, and maybe get those out to sell there. We have the 2 green ones left, lots and lots of those. Try to get those sold out too for, I don't know. I just don't think any of those are worth the $50, but we're going to take a vote on that next month, I'm sure. I'd like to thank the staff at City Hall for filling in for Darla. There's some pretty big shoes to fill, and I know you guys are really working hard and keeping the city on a level field, and I appreciate that so much. And anyway, thank you for everybody for being here, and on we go. Thank you.
You, Rose? Ernie?
First of all, I probably should only answer this. Police department, we made the deal. Are they here? Are they there? Are they gonna be utilized their new building, or are they still gonna show presence here?
The police department is on 17 Mile.
Right.
All of our dedicated officers are coming out of that facility. They're
So we
not
have
here
no
anymore.
more office here or anything, right?
Not in this building.
That's what I meant. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So they rolled over to their new building.
Correct. Yep.
Our deal we made with them.
Yep. Yep. Mhm.
Everybody's happy with that.
We haven't heard any complaints so far.
Next thing, does anybody know when we're gonna do the road?
Main
Yeah.
Street construction.
Great
Yes.
question.
Yep, it should be within the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I was
My
thinking-
understanding, they were looking to try and get started by the end of end of July, but there were some delays, but it should be very, very shortly.
I was gonna say, we voted to approve, cause it came in over budget, surprise of no one. But we had to we had a 36-hour window to approve that additional funding through MDOT, and we did as a council. And then it's supposed to be, now, we're doing it in sections so that there will be this piece that has to be done before Red Flannel. That was our,
That was my next question is what's the timing then?
I was
This
just
is
gonna ask
obviously
how
gonna
long
inter-
it's gonna take.
there's a map.
Yeah, I don't have the additional detail on when it exactly starts or how long it may take, but my understanding is they will be starting it very, very soon, and it will be done before Red Flannel Day.
Like this,
That's for the
maybe
first
the
The whole
section.
thing, or
the
No,
bridge.
this
Yeah,
section to
started.
the bridge.
is this the last year that we're gonna have Main Street closed?
From where to the bridge?
I believe it's church.
Church Street, I think so. I need a map.
Yeah, I know.
The bridge?
Who makes these decisions?
It's an MDOT project.
So it's an MDOT project.
Yes.
Okay, I knew that. So they're the people to see about it.
I
or
mean,
answer the
When
question.
when we
But
get
no-
that information from MDOT, we will give it out to the public when it's available to us. To my knowledge, we haven't received that information yet.
Good luck if you do.
Well, they had to come because it has to go out to specific bidders because it's an MDOT project. And we had money earmarked for it,
Right.
but then it
You're
was,
the wrong time
more
ago.
money. So then when it came in as more money, we then had to be able to say, cause if we turned them down, then like, it doesn't happen. So then we had to say, yes, we've got this extra money. And it was like an extra
Several $100,000.
yeah, 170 something. I mean, it was like, it wasn't like $12. I mean, it wasn't like I got it in my purse. You know, so we didn't even have a meeting, like Darla had to call all of us and get this approval to do this override. And then we did the official override at our meeting. But that, they couldn't then set their start date until we had given them that approval on that.
I
money.
understand. So the bottom line is we don't have a start date, might be a couple weeks. Is that
They were
the answer?
aiming for the first week of
Not her
August is
fault,
what
not
I
your fault.
remember.
How many sections are there? And we,
2 sections that'll be done. So
the other, is that one, the following one gonna be the following spring then? It's
Yeah.
gonna be, so it's gonna be 2
It's
years.
not gonna get
Two
done.
more years of Main Street being down.
That's-
Well,
Main
this
Street
fall and-
itself will not be closed at the bridge. So the second part from the bridge to 18 Mile, that will happen next year.
Bridge to 18.
You said the first part is from Church Street?
I believe it's Church
I
Street.
think it's church.
So we're not gonna get the corner done?
Yeah, cause.
Not
between
all the way to
Church
the
and
corner.
17 is where.
That's the
road-
worst road in
it's torn
town.
up.
That's-
Intersection is,
road.
intersection is in good shape. It's just getting up to the intersection. There's-
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it should go.
It will go to that, to cover up that
All the
road.
rest is noise. What we need to know is when,
Yeah,
when and what
so we know
sections.
how
The
it's
rest
gonna
is,
affect our business.
I believe it's the first week of August is what they were aiming for, but the over budget piece like may have.
So mid-August.
We will get the
August it
information out to you
starts.
guys as soon as we receive it. So as soon as we receive it, it will be passed along to businesses.
gonna be in.
If I understand it correctly, start of August, and then that first section will be done before Red Flannel.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
We've told them they absolutely have to be.
Okay.
That was like a deal breaker piece.
I still have to
we
answer
have
that
2 months
question.
to make
You're telling me that from Muskegon Street north to say Church Street is not gonna get done?
I would have to double check and remember, I'm not,
You're not
Been
the
the
one.
person
I'm not-
in the
I'm
seat.
not trying to bust you for that.
no,
Rebecca.
no,
You're
that's all right.
Carolyn, I'm not.
I can get you the full details, Brittany, and send a email out to the board and the exact specifications
Is
on
it-
what street it starts at to what street.
Is that in our packet from last month?
It very well could be. I believe it's Church Street.
I want to say it's in the packet from last. city
Thank you.
council.
Sally, do you have
Where
anything
you want to pay?
I'm good, thanks.
Ms. Mayor?
Thank you for continuing to make this all happen. I know my attendance here is very irregular. And you all are amazing, because you just keep making it all happen. And I think that's phenomenal. I know so many communities that do not have PDAs that function nearly at this capacity. And so that's really great. That's what I got.
Cody?
Quick question, how do I bring a new agenda to the board? Or an idea?
When the agenda comes out, just email
Just
back
email it. Okay.
or email.
Just tell her.
So a
before.
week
email
ahead
her
of
Or
time.
Darla ahead of
Okay.
time, yep.
Yep, a week ahead of time is the deadline. So if you would like to bring something to the board for the consideration, just at least a week before.
When we approve the agenda, you can also ask for it to be added.
Perfect,
You
okay.
can do it like tomorrow or
Okay.
next week if you want.
I'm good.
Thank you all. Sorry for being tardy on the way back. We have a Grammy nominated Ogtoberfest with Alex Meixner on the last music last day of the public music, which is after school starts. That's October 23rd. And we have a lot of German American clubs that are invited to that one as well. So if anybody all can make it out to that one, I know Rose, you come to all of them.
Oh, I love it.
So it's been cool despite some of the oddball weather this year. But that's something else I was gonna mention as well, and I'm totally brain farting on it. So thank you all. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We adjourn. Thank you.
Yeah, just. I'll hold
Okay.
one minute. This is like all Rebecca all the time right now. I mean, not that you don't have other people helping you, but I was talking to a planning commission chairperson who was like, so she's like doing it all on her own right now. I'm like, a little bit.
I have lots of help, but I have lots.
I understand.
Anyone would like to see the sign? I do believe it's up here.
Oh, yeah.
Rebecca, who are the concerned citizens? They don't fix